Hello YouTube! Today we are going to be doing my ultimate 8-minute lower body stretching routine. This is my favorite sequence of movements and I wanted to share it with you guys. So starting up, we're going to be doing a kneeling quad and hip flexor stretch. If the grabbing onto your foot is a little bit too advanced, what you can do is keep your foot on the ground and just focus on the hip flexor portion. We're going to be holding each stretch for about 30 seconds on each side. I'll cue you when to switch. Good. So to get a little bit deeper, if you want to feel the stretch a little bit more, you can lean forwards like I am here, or you can stay where you are if that's more comfortable. Okay, staying on the same side, we are going to come into the lizard pose, which is really going to stretch out the front of your hip flexor. First variation is coming onto the hands, second onto the elbows, and third is lifting up that back foot. This is a pretty deep and intense stretch, so you really want to make sure you ease into things and know that you can always try advancing it the next time you do it. Good, we're going to hold this for a couple more seconds. And now we're going to come up and switch sides, starting again with that hip flexor or quad stretch. For this one, I really like you to think about tucking your hips under. A lot of people just push their hips forwards, which is great, but you're going to get more stretch out of that hip flexor if you think about tucking under the hip. Good. Remember to breathe as you go through these stretches, and remember how good this is going to make your body feel after and in the future. All right, we're going to be switching again into that lizard stretch. So again, take the same variation you did on the previous side and do whatever feels good in your body today. Nice. I really like you to think about planting that front foot and dig that big toe, little toe and heel into the ground to really give yourself a solid foundation here. Good. As we transition out of this stretch, we are going to be coming back into the left side and we're going to be going into a pigeon pose. This is a wonderful stretch for the glutes, a little bit of the hips as well, and the lower back if you do lean forwards. So option 1 is to sit up. Option 2 is to come down forward onto the elbows. Good. For this one, I really want you to think about pressing that outer left knee down into the ground as well as the left foot. All right, we're going to be transitioning now into double pigeon. So you're going to bring your right leg around and stack it on top of your left. This is definitely a more advanced stretch, so do as much of it as you can. Know that if your legs are not completely flat, that is perfectly okay. Good. And as you stretch, something I really like to do is find what makes you comfortable and what feels best for you. What feels best for you might not feel the best for somebody else or even the video you're watching, and that's okay. Do what feels really good in your body. All right, we're going to transition out of this stretch and come back into our downward dog and then into our pigeon on the right side. Similarly to before, take whichever variation feels good in your body. And with this one, I will add, if you're finding a lot of elevation from your hip to the ground, you can always add a type of blanket or sweater underneath your hip if that feels good. Alrighty, we're going to come back into that double pigeon here. So again, bringing your foot on top of your outer thigh. And just take some nice deep breaths as you sink into this posture. Actively think about pressing that left thigh down towards the ground, really stretching out those hips. And take a deep breath with every inch you lean forward. Good. All right, transitioning out of this stretch, we are going to work the hamstring, so the back of the legs. This is a really intense stretch, so please ease into it. It's better to ease into things than to be too intense and pull a muscle. So for this one, you're going to flex your toes, point them up towards the ceiling of your left foot. This might be as intense as you need it to be. If you want it to be more intense, you can lean forwards. Essentially, the farther forward you lean and the more you flex your toes up, the more intense it will be. Good. Okay, so switching sides here. We're going to go onto the right leg. Similarly, you're going to lean forwards, flex the right foot, toes to the ceiling, and lean forward as far as is comfortable for you. Take some nice deep breaths and acknowledge that if this is really hard, it's an area you get to work on and improve, which is exciting. Okay, we are going to be coming down now into the 90-90 position. So left leg is in front at 90 degrees, right leg is behind at 90 degrees. You're going to want to make sure your front foot, back foot, and both knees are planted into the ground, and then you're going to hinge at your hips forwards. Some people like to just sit in this position upright. I kind of like to shift forwards and backwards to get a little bit of a stretch in the lower back as well. Do whatever feels good for you here, but the main focus is keeping that 90 position in the front and back leg and sitting upright. All right, we're going to switch sides now. So right leg is going to come out front, left leg behind. Same thing with that 90-90 position, and lean forwards if you'd like to. If you've never done this before and it feels awkward, that is very, very normal. The more you sit like this and the more mobile your hips get, the easier and hopefully better it will feel. All right, we've got 2 more stretches left to go. Have to do the classic butterfly stretch. I think most people learn this as one of their first stretches. It's a great stretch for the inner thighs as well as the lower back if you choose to lean forwards. For this one, know that the closer your feet are to you, it's going to be more intense. The farther away your feet are from your body, it will feel a little bit easier. Good. With every exhale, think about pressing your thighs down towards the ground. And we have one last stretch, the seated toe touch. So toes out in front of you, reach up overhead, and then reach towards your feet. If you grab your knees, your shins, your ankles, wherever you can grab is perfectly fine. Again, it's another area to improve. Good. Take your last few deep breaths and you are just about done. Thank you so much for joining me in this stretch today. I hope you really enjoyed it. Feel free to replay it as many times as you would like.